President Biden prepares a new wave of tariffs against China. The United States Soybean Trade Group is pushing for higher levies on Chinese used cooking oil that it states is undercutting American crops used for biofuels. A group that represents the biggest United States soybean processors, including Cargill Inc., Bunge Global SA, and Arch Daniels Midland Co. wants the levies to be higher than the current 15.5% rate. NOPA Chief Executive Officer said in a memo that was sent in a response to rumors of possible additional tariffs being applied on used cooking oil. Association members support a boost on par with clean energy source such as electric vehicles and solar to level the playing field. Soybean crushers worry a flood of used cooking oil imports from China is weakening demand for United States crop-based ingredients that can be used to make renewable diesel and sustainable aviation fuel. There's also widespread unconfirmed speculation that used oil from Asia may not be authentic and instead is mixed with fresh vegetable oils such as palm, and potentially distorting commodity values and undermining United States biofuel laws. China's export to the United States of processed animal and vegetable fats and oils, a category that includes used cooking oil, reached 201 million in the first 3 months of this year, versus the 770 million in the whole of 2023. That about 47 million worth of shipments in 2022 from April and onward. Soy oil values are down so far this year through futures, and Chicago have seen an uptick in the last couple of trading days as commodity traders await tariff news. Tariffs on used cooking oil would add to other incoming United States trade measures against Chinese goods. Biden will quadruple tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles and sharply increase levies for other key industries. In the cooking oil rift, United States growers of soy and other crops used to make renewable diesels stand to lose the most from the trade. That sets the stage for possible tensions between farm groups and biofuel producers who are making money importing used cooking oil from China. United States imports of used cooking oil more than tripled in 2023 from a year earlier, with more than half coming directly from China. The surge is eroding profits from processors who crush whole soybeans to extract the oil, forcing some plants to slow down. So this is some information that I wanted to read off to you guys. Now, again, like I told you guys before, I've seen documentaries directly on this stuff, so I feel that this is important to bring up since we're dealing with imports coming directly from another country of which we don't really know about. So they stated this: gutter oil, trench oil, sewer oil, and tainted oil are Chinese slang terms primarily used in China and Taiwan to refer to recycled oil. It can be used to describe the illicit practice of restaurants reusing cooking oil that has already been cooked with longer than safety code permits. It can also be used to describe the reprocessing of rancid yellow grease collected from sources such as restaurants, fryers, kitchens, and slaughterhouse waste and sewer drains. The usage of gutter oil is highly frowned upon and often leads to prosecution. For example, selling gutter oil in China can result in lengthy prison sentences or the death sentence with reprieve. For example, in 2014, businessman Zhu Xuanfeng was sentenced to the latter for selling gutter oil. That same year, a major gutter oil scandal was uncovered in Taiwan. In 2015, Yi Wen-sang, who is the chairman of a Taiwanese food company, was sentenced to 22 years imprisonment and fined the equivalent of 1.6 million for selling 243 tons of gutter oil. History. The first documented case of gutter oil in Taiwan was reported back in 1985. In a subsequent investigation, 22 people were arrested for their involvement in a recycling oil ring over 10 years based in Taipei. The worst offender was sentenced to 7 years in prison. The first documented case of gutter oil in mainland China was reported back in 2000 when a street vendor was found to be selling oil obtained by a restaurant garbage disposals. Back in 2011, they had arrested 32 people for producing the oil and had seized 90 tonnes of it in 14 provinces. The amount is equivalent to around 1/10 of oil typically used by restaurants. as Fang Ping of the China Meat Research Center has stated, quote, the illegal oil shows no difference in appearance and indicators after refining and purification because the lawbreakers are skillful at coping with the established standards. Some street vendors and restaurants in China are reported to have illegally used recycled oil unfit for human consumption to cook food, leading to a crackdown against such establishments by the Chinese government. In September of 2012, an ongoing investigation into the suspected use of Goethe oil as a raw material in the Chinese pharmaceutical industry was revealed. A scandal involving 240 tons of Goethe oil in Taiwan affecting hundreds of companies and thousands of eateries, some of which may have been exported overseas, broke in September of 2014. Now, I'm not sitting up there saying that this is 100% what is going on, but I will sit up there and tell you if you have a country that has this problem running rampant to the point where you have documentaries, you have people that literally have live videos showing restaurant owners and different companies going directly into these drains and getting this nasty, disgusting oil, and then showing them refining the oil, boiling the oil so that they can scoop out, quote unquote, the refined and the clean version of the oil just to sit up there and add in some other things and then repackage and resell it. Again, on the Wikipedia itself, it stated that some of these oils were sold overseas. That was back in 2014. So you can only imagine what is going on right now. And then the other question would have to be, why would the United States government be importing oil when we clearly have crops here? We clearly got crops. We can make anything if we really wanted to. So why would we be importing something from a whole nother country of origin of which we know nothing about? We don't know specifically where their companies are producing, how they're getting this oil. We don't know any of it. But we know that there is a rampant reuse in oil or street oil or restaurant oil that takes place in China. And it also takes place in Taiwan as well. You have to ask yourself, why is the United States government importing oil when we can clearly make it ourselves? Just think about it. Everybody cooks directly in their homes. How much cooking oil do you use, right? Or when you go out to eat to a restaurant, how much cooking oil do those restaurants use and where specifically are they getting that cooking oil from? And then on top of that, you would have to think, if you have people that normally did this in China and then they decided to come directly over here, what would they then decide to do? Are they going to, turn off those old practices because they're in a new country of which they don't have to practice the same thing? Or are they going to practice the same thing that they were doing in China directly over here? It wasn't too long ago, I think about last year, that I showed you guys videos of Chinese workers pulling oil and they were using it directly in their restaurants. Again, like I said before, you got to try to figure out, why is this even allowed? Why is this even happening? Again, remember the fact that the United States has foods, candies, whatever you want to list, that are banned in a multitude of countries around the world. And then you have to wonder, why are we, in a sense, buying and paying for potentially a waste product, right? This is not fresh. This is something that is reused that other people have already used in order to cook their food. It's just being repurposed and repackaged and shipped directly over here. Again, why? Does it cost less? Is it because you don't really want to work with the farmers? Is it because you're trying to outsource everything that you have so that you can cause a further collapse in the economy and the United States dollar? What realistically is it? Because that's the question. And I feel like maybe I'm just crazy, right? Maybe I'm the one with the problem and this is not really a big deal. I'm just causing a big hubbub and a ruckus about something that's whatever, right? Because time and time again, I'll highlight and showcase a lot of these problems, and it just seems like nobody else is talking about them. It seems like nobody else is really highlighting these things. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's just me. maybe I've been doing this too long where, I'm just losing it at this moment in time. I don't know. Y'all can let me know in the comment section below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.